my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here on the 21st of November to look at the energy for this week in today's Monday's Musings. And I was just thinking to myself, I have no idea, as always, every week what it is that will come up and what it is that will be discussed. But I do know what my intention is. Now that feels like key this week. We may not know what actually arises as the days go on, but we can have an intention of what it is we are trying to achieve and to stick to that. It feels very clear to stick to that this week. There's some very distractible energy I can feel, and almost like a flow with the rain falling outside and the water level rising literally around my garden. I can feel this potential of being swept up in things should we allow, and that feels like key. Should we allow? So there's a lot coming to the surface, I know myself, at the moment, things that we know, things that we've experienced, things that we continue to put ourselves in the stream of, in the collective stream of. And what really feels like is coming to light this week is the choice, the decision, the chance to be able to say, I don't have to stand in that flow anymore. It's not for me. As long as we have that intent, really looking at what our intention is this week. What is it we are hoping to achieve? So for me, I'm going to look into the energies this week and how to best navigate them on an individual level, on a collective yet individual level. And things will either apply to you or not. And that is where I cannot stress it enough. This week, this month, this year, your whole life. If something resonates with you, fantastic. Whether it's what we would see as positive or negative, if it resonates with you, it's there to teach you something. So we can very often, I did it myself this morning, berate ourselves or others for repetitive behaviour. This morning I really ended up kicking myself up the backside because I woke up angry, exhausted, bitter towards the world at large and the imbalances. Now I choose to take that into sacred space. I'm not saying everybody has to, but I choose to take that into sacred space and see what is actually going on and bring it back to me, because I cannot be responsible for the world at large. None of us can. And those that believe that we can, where is that coming from? None of us are responsible for the opinions, the beliefs, the behaviours of others without looking at our own first. So this morning I chose to take that into sacred space, and yes, I was tired. Yes, I was exhausted actually, and I hadn't looked at my own needs, and I'd put them on the back burner as always. And this is a repetitive stream that I get caught up in, the superwoman complex. I'll deal with that later, I can do that later. And we live in this busy, fast-paced world, right, where our needs will get met later. And I could really see that. But what kicked me up the backside this morning was my own time hops on Facebook and how humbly honoured and, in love I was with everything that I did. And I still am, but I didn't feel it at that level this morning. My knee-jerk reaction was to really look at that, and I am looking at that and the balance in my life as a result. But also the other side of having compassion for everything that we have been through the last few years, having compassion for that and realising that our needs have increased and that it is our responsibility to meet those needs. By looking outside of ourselves, by expecting others to do that for us when we will not do it for ourselves or are unable to do it for ourselves. It's stepping into that stream again of, at a time of giving, knowing that actually by giving to ourselves we can give to others better. And this is old hat for me, this is an old pattern for me, but also having compassion when we're not quite meeting that, by looking at our intention. How aligned are we to that? Have we strayed off? And that's okay. These things come to light for us to realise where we may be out of balance. So of course I could have had 1,000,001 options this morning. I could have ignored what I was getting, the fact that I was being a bitter old hag this morning, or I could point the finger at everything else. This happened, that happened, my cat got me up early, and this was all, yes, adding to the situation. Or I could take what I was feeling, take responsibility for it, hold that in space and see what was really going on there. Okay, and it was my own self saying, if something doesn't change, everything you love is changing and growing in a way that may not be enough to sustain you actually. So this week in particular, whatever streams you find yourself caught up in, whatever energy you feel may be dragging you into certain directions, of course we're going to point fingers. Of course we're going to go X, Y, and Z happened, because that's the initial trigger. That's all it is a trigger. Taking it a step further. Why did we step into that energy in the first place? What is there to discover here about how we are tending to our own needs, about how in a time of giving we are ensuring that that is in balance, and that we are doing so from an open space rather than a measurable attitude or a codependent position. And that's what I really feel. So recognizing this week our needs are not dependent on the actions of others but on ourselves. Powerful. But hey, that was the intention this week, was to look into the energies and how to best navigate them, and that does really feel like key. Look at the old patterns we're getting swept up in, looking at why we are choosing to actually put ourselves in those positions, and what is it we are gaining from this. As the year comes to a close, right, we are coming to a close soon, and you know, there is a big emphasis there about what we are wanting to take forward and how in alignment we are with that. So all of my dreams for next year, with all the services that I offer, and I can't wait, I feel so much joy and excitement. But there is a big chunk of me that if I do not step up my game, looking after myself, those aren't going to be a potential in the level that I'm able to offer them from my heart. Because when our needs aren't met, we can only give so much, right? Or we end up doing so from a sacrificial martyrdom perspective. And that really is what wants to be let go of this year. Okay. Yeah, by recognising it's free will. It's all choice, okay? It's all choice. The world will continue to spin if we don't get up and hoover in the morning or whatever. The world will continue to spin. So it's our choice how we prioritise our life. Our choice. Okay. So, which is also bringing something to light for me. The Knight of Pentacles on the bottom of the pack. Deciding what energies we want to be part of includes deciding what energies we want to work with and deciding what energies we want to relate to now. And, you know, the card that came up this morning, the guidance, was judgment. And to not have judgment on that. It's okay if you feel you have moved forward from a certain situation, a certain energy, a certain lesson even. You'll know, because every time you go back to it, you will feel that bitterness, that resentment, that anger, that exhaustion, because it's draining you. It's draining the situation. So it is about being okay with moving forward from that. Recognizing there's uncertainty there. This is what I've always done, right? This is what I've always done. I don't know any different. So investigate it, discover it, be open to it, knowing that you've done that part. Okay, and being okay with if a certain thing is out of your sphere of practice, a certain thing you're no longer unable to hold space for or to continue doing, recognize that, respect that, and realize the impact that forcing that is actually having on you and on others. And the same comes from others as well. You know, to be continually asking for things that people are unable to provide is going to have a negative impact on you for asking, because there's nothing worse. I ask my son to clean his room all the time and he doesn't, and there's nothing worse than having that feeling of being unheard. But also on that person, they will end up feeling not good enough. And this is the energy that we're going to be feeding. If someone doesn't stand back and go, okay, this isn't working. This isn't working. What is the intention behind this, and how aligned is this situation to this? Okay. By next year, there's going to be some big changes in how we work, necessary changes in how we work and who we are. A real big shake-up. And years ago, if you changed, you know, a lot of people around you would go, oh, you've changed, and you'd worry about losing friends or situations or jobs or whatever. This year, you have Six of Swords at the bottom. As we go into next year, it is us that will change, and it is us that will feel that change, and it is us that will be uncertain about that change and whether we want to be around that change. But it is recognising that change, I can't say the word change enough, recognising that change is actually in alignment with everything we've been asking for on a soul level. Okay. So if we ask to be independent, and then feel as if we're doing everything on our own, that can be what we've asked for. You know, if we ask to be healthy, don't be surprised if the reasons why we're not come to light. You know, how out of balance we are, or things like that. So it is recognising the shadow aspect of manifestation for what it actually is. It's still manifestation. Things don't always pan out the way that we expect them to, but what's happening is they are teaching us to be in alignment with what it is we are actually intending this week. So with that in mind, let's get in alignment. Energies this week and how to best navigate them. There's a real technological advancement, and I feel it coming for the collective, but I feel it coming for ourselves as well, and in how we manifest and in how we create, how we use our bodies to do so, and how important they are as a vessel. You know, I did this talk yesterday on the womb and the wisdom of the womb, and we passed on the womb rites and things like that, and really looking at how we view cronehood, how we view change as the death, how we view death, how we view the end of a cycle, and as a society how much we try and avoid that, and how change cannot be possible unless we embrace that, which means all those things that we continue to do, stop. Stop, let the death occur, let the change occur for the beginning to come in. Or, you know, if something we've been trying to do isn't working, don't do it in the same way. Adapt it, change it by all means, but don't continue to do the same thing, because all that does is drain the situation. All that does is cause a more traumatic birth or death or ending or beginning. Okay, so really recognizing change for what it actually is and having some respect for that within us, acknowledging where we have shifted and what has changed. And I feel that as a fire in a belly, and I feel that as a strength that is almost a little bit daunting for us as the guardians of it. It's the dragon ley line, most definitely. I don't have dragon cards, unfortunately, but it's the dragon ley lines in the earth. It's the dragon energy rising. I've actually put the dragon on my altar, which has explained a lot the last few days. It is the union of the power of our ability to work with our body and the earth, okay, to transmute everything that is occurring, and the elements within us as well, embracing those. You know, dragons come in water, earth, air and fire, and it's embracing those powers of the elements within us this week, definitely into next year. Okay, so intention, energies this week and how to best navigate them. Okay, so we do have the Knight of Wands on the bottom, but I felt fun, I felt lighten up. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall, gosh. So at the bottom of the pack, we do have the Knight of Wands, and we do have, and straight underneath the Ace of Wands. Okay, so we do have that energy that is charging us forward. We have the Sagittarius, I think it is, new moon, yes, on Wednesday, I think. Wednesday or Thursday, and there is that potential there, that new moon with a new fire energy to start moving us forward, start charging us forward. Okay, but again, intention, what is it we are actually intending? Getting very clear on that in the next week, because although the new moon is on like an itchy lymph node interesting, so big shifts with the lymphatic system, but although the new moon is this week, it does feel like it comes in two parts, like the double-edged sword I can see with the Ace of Swords. It comes in two parts. Intention is part of the manifestation. Getting clear on that. And I mean crystal clear. I mean sharp on that. So an example. We want to move from where we are. It's cold. We have a coal fire, immersion heater. We're very grateful for having a roof over our head, but it's cold and the house is starting to build with mould. Again, in comparison to some people on the streets, we are very blessed, but we do need to look at our situation and change it. I've just been offered to go for a viewing for a bungalow tomorrow, and much as it would be warmer, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. And I feel like, oh, well, I need to take the best of a bad situation. Actually, this week, getting very clear, very, very clear, and holding that vision of what it is you're actually looking for without compromise. Without compromise, because it's the beginning. It's the Ace of Wands. If you're going to compromise the intention before you've even set it, then that's the energy you're setting. You're compromising yourself beforehand. So a classic, I just compared myself to others when wanting a new space. Being aware of the energy behind the intention this week. Because overall for the energy this week, we have the Ace of Swords. Even though it's an air element, look at that, that's fire. That's fire, and it is knowing that our mind can be the very energy that can transmute the situation this week. Our mind and how we choose to see things, and it is going to be from a double-edged sword. We are going to get the shadow come up so that we can see the light, like my situation this morning. We are going to get triggered so that we can see what it is we are aligning with and how that is actually affecting what it is we're trying to achieve, because it is the mind this week that is going to bring in that ability to transform, transmute, burn through all of it now. Gosh, okay. I just realised I'm sat next to a diamond-shaped amethyst for the violet flame. I really, really feel that energy this week. Because it's what we've asked for. Okay. The flow behind us is very to the point, very matter of fact, actually. So on the Monday today we have the Fool card, and that is where I feel that lightening up, that really lightening up of this energy that's coming through. We're not quite at the new moon yet. You can see that in the bottom. Not a very clear card. There we are. Much, much better. So taking our time and getting clear today, really important. And even though it feels like we have, and that's what we do, actually, no. If we're feeling like we always get clear, or, we're always realigning our manifestations or whatever, then that's not a new beginning. That's based on the old. Okay, so almost wipe the slate clean. Everything that we've wanted, get rid of, start again. Just start again. And the important thing is that we have aligned with what it is we're trying to achieve this week. And if not, what do we need in order to do that? So Monday, yes, new beginnings, a new opportunity here, but it needs to be new. It needs to be new. And until then, take time, pause, wait. And I feel that's what is happening at the moment. Okay, that uncertainty, and that's okay too. That's part of the new journey. When we're uncertain, when we're not ready to take that leap yet, that uncertainty needs to die. There needs to be a death there. There needs to be a release of the old, because if we're uncertain, it is because we are basing it on something from before, okay, which means that's what we're going to take forward. We may not know. There may come a point by the end of the week, because we have the Lovers at the end, so it's choices here. There may come a point where we just leap, because staying where we are can be more uncomfortable, and we may not know what it is that we take forward. We may not know how things are going to pan out, and it may be the uncertainty itself that we take forward in a different, fresh way, a new approach to uncertainty, because uncertainty is actually potential. Uncertainty is the feminine. Uncertainty is trust and hope and faith and the decision that we need to make in ourselves. So, that we need to align with to be okay with uncertainty. So on the Tuesday, we have the Three of Cups, and we do have that celebration of, okay, I took the leap, I did this, and that's just amazing. However, you can see that they're about to fall into that stream that I mentioned. Okay, so just being aware what it is you're celebrating and how aligned that actually is to what it is you're trying to achieve. Okay, is there anything else on that? That feels really relevant. That's it really. I get the sense of false gratitude. So like I just did as the example, it's not a false gratitude, but it's a, we are better off than others. And yes, we are. But knowing that all that does is limit ourselves and others. Okay, we do live in a very abundant world. There is enough for everybody. There isn't enough for everybody's greed, but there is enough for everybody. And when we put that limit on, well, we want this, but at least we're better than this situation, or we've come. What we're doing is we're limiting our ability to celebrate life, and that feels quite important. Watch the stream that we get caught in on the Tuesday. Watch the thoughts that we get caught in. Gratitude is an amazing thing, absolutely amazing thing, and totally, when we align with it, it's very, very powerful when it comes to manifestation. Deep gratitude has no good or bad. It has no negative or positive. It can see all aspects of life and be grateful for everything. There is a big, big movement of being grateful for things when we don't feel grateful. The universe knows, the body knows, the soul knows. You can't fake gratitude. We have to dig deep and find it, but you can't fake gratitude energetically. Be aware of that on the Tuesday. It's okay to feel not happy with things, because that's part of the process. That's part of the self-awareness that needs to occur. So it's okay to be triggered and to be low. It's part of manifestation. The lower we go down, the further down the roots we can plant. It's all part of the process. Change and part. They're the two words that I keep wanting to say all the time. Okay, so on the Wednesday we have the 5 of Wands, and we do have the conflict there of what I can feel with the threes. Celebrate the good times and know that the bad times are going to lead to good times. I feel like if we have conflict with what we feel, if we try and make things grateful when we're not, it's not going to work. This week in particular, really looking at the conflict that we have with ourselves, really, really going into that and taking self-awareness to another level. And it can be a bit, I think these characters are all blind. They don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to look at what's going on because it's bloody uncomfortable, right? This morning I did not want to see that I was becoming a bitter hag, but that was the truth of the matter, because I was out of balance. And unless we can look at these aspects of ourselves, unless we can look at where our circumstances, our environment, our situation is causing us to fight ourselves and others, we're going to be blinded to the potential bee's nest there, to the potential damage that we're going to cause. We're going to be blinded to the sheer fact that we're going to hurt ourselves and each other. So really, really looking at that, because it's essential as we lead into the Thursday. We have the 9 of Cups. So this uncomfortableness of wanting a new beginning, not knowing how to align, really looking at how imbalanced we are with what it is we're trying to achieve. Having gratitude for what we do have, but also opening up to the realization that that's the 3 of Cups, it's not the 10, okay? Having gratitude for what we have, but knowing that there's more. There's always more. That's growth, that's evolution. That, I don't mean more as in we have to have more things, but things that expand our heart. They're limitless. Having gratitude for that ability to continue to grow is going to be essential. To look at the reasons why we haven't allowed that to happen. That uncertainty with the Fool, that not wanting to take the leap, be it relationships, jobs, home moving, whatever. Really, really looking at that from a double-edged perspective. Yes, it's not quite the dream that we want. Or is it because we don't want to walk towards the dream that we want? With compassion this week, guys, with compassion, because ultimately on the Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have the 9 of Cups. And we have the universe saying, what do you want? I'll give you what you want, but be clear of what you want. Be clear of the steps that you need to put in place in order to align with that. Be clear of what it is you are asking for and the journey you're about to embark on. Be clear that in truth you've always known that. And that's why there's the uncertainties. That's why there's the triggers. They're all part of everything that you've asked for. So do you still want it? Be clear on that. On the Friday, we have the Page of Swords, and all this mental energy just looks like it's a little bit too big to carry, right? It's a little bit too massive, okay? But that is our own view of ourselves. That's a very young view. So on the Friday, really looking at the inner child. On the Friday, really lightening things up and having some fun with whatever is occurring. On the Friday, really feeling that joy and knowing that our mind is there to help us really deeply transform what is going on. And if it feels like things are too big, it's because the transformations needed are big. but also trusting in our ability to hold that. So even though this sword is big, the character's holding it well. Looks very confident holding it, actually. It's just our view that the sword is a bit too big. So if that continues onto the Saturday, we have the Six of Pentacles. What do we need? Let's seek out some help here from ourselves first and foremost. What do I need to feel confident to do these things? What do I need from others to help me do this? Who am I asking? Am I asking the universe? Am I asking people that are unable to give it to me? Am I asking myself but not listening? Really, really looking at that on the Saturday. Because come the Sunday, we have choices. We do have choices that need to be made. And it feels like actually, well, I was going to say potentially a week, but no, it is come the Sunday. There are decisions to be made here. It reminds me very much of the Two of Cups, but there is a remembrance here that it isn't the Two of Cups. Okay, so the cup is in the background. It's behind it, of course. How we unite with ourselves, with each other, is always in the background. Relationships are always in the background. How we give, how we receive. The Lovers' Year this year has been the emphasis behind everything in the background. But my eyes are drawn to the heart, and they're drawn to the Gibo gift inside of it. Really recognising the gifts this week. And making decisions from that, recognizing that the ability to actually have a choice is a gift. The ability to actually have a choice is a gift, and being grateful for that this week. So the ability for me to think I might want to move from a place that's mold ridden, and that's a choice, and that's a gift, and it's not one that's given to all at this moment in time. So really acknowledging what choices you have, seeing them for the gift that they are, working with them, not against them this week, celebrating that opportunity, knowing that it's all a step towards what it is you're trying to achieve. So let's have a little look. We have two wand cards. So I am drawn to the one that the Fool has in his backpack as well. I was going to say in his back, but over his shoulder, carrying his backpack. Being very aware of that as an actual wand. So the Fool isn't conscious about what he carries forward, or rather, yes, the immature Fool, the first stage of the Fool, isn't conscious about what he carries. This week, that's not an option. That wand is actually being counted in with the other two wands. So it's 3 wands this week. The ability to move forward comes from knowing what it is we are carrying. Okay, and knowing that actually we do. We might feel like we don't in this uncertainty, but actually we do. And being aware of everything around us that's pointing that out, our intention and the conflict we have with our own intention, is what's going to bring to light what it is we are carrying. So I want to get out and help so many people. That is my intention. What I'm in conflict with is the fact that I'm not meeting my own needs. What I'm carrying is this ancestral energy of putting the needs of others before my own, and the impact that this can have on what it is I'm trying to achieve. So this week, the way to find how you're in conflict with your own intentions is to look at what you're carrying, look at the patterns, look at the stream that you keep stepping into, look at the repetitive situations that you're coming up against, and the same feelings as well. The feelings are key. So yes, this morning I was angry and I was tired, and I did feel resentment for being tired and for being angry, my own judgments on these feelings in particular. So of course, if I'm going to feel anger towards tiredness and resentment towards that, what am I not going to do? I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to rest because I don't see the compassion or the importance behind that. And then I'm going to get out of balance, and then that's going to affect my ability to look after others. So, or help others, not look after, help others, help themselves. So really digging deep this week, falling into that mental energy of what on earth is going on here? What am I trying to see? What am I carrying that I'm unconscious of, but actually it's there and it's in my subconscious and it's ready to be seen, ready to be celebrated for the gift that it is, so that we're no longer in conflict and we can figure out what the hell we are trying to achieve this week. So we then have 2 sword cards. Again, beautiful balance there. We have the Ace of Swords and the Page of Swords. We have 2 wonderful opportunities for a new beginning. From the energy outside of us, but also what we choose to do with it. And that feels important. In order to align with this new beginning, our actions, our thoughts, our way of seeing it need to be new also this week. Because otherwise that sword becomes too big to carry. Otherwise the way that we see things, I'm just aware of the heater under my feet. Otherwise the way that we see things, yes, the heat under our journey becomes too big because we're carrying old views and new views. And that's where that conflict can occur. And not even our views. Let's be very, very aware of that. Not all of our opinions and judgments and views are even ours. They're not ours to carry. So it's being very conscious about ancestral and societal views and opinions this week. And peer opinions too. Really, really being aware of that. And, you know, if you knew that you could only take so much forward, you would be very, I get the analogy of if God forbid our home burnt down, what would we collect? What's important to us this week? Really being very clear with that, figuring out our priorities and only taking that forward. In our heart, the heart feels as if it's clogged, okay? So what are we going to allow to be in that space? And getting rid of anything that's going to stand in the way of that, because the heart can only hold so much in there. Okay, so really picking what is going to be carried in the heart. We then have 2 cup cards as well. So hang on, 2 wands, 2 swords, 2 cups. Beautiful balance there again. And that feels like key. That feels like how the energy starts to lighten up. Recognizing we are actually in balance with the seasons around us, with the cycles around us, with the changes around and within us. You know, we can feel like we're in conflict, but actually look at the weather. The weather is releasing in the UK. We are coming up for the winter. Things are getting colder, a bit bitter. You know, that things are starting to release. The leaves are coming off the trees. The rain is coming, the emotions are clearing. We are in union with our cycles with all of this. You know, we're not at a time where we're bringing lots of new. Not yet, we're letting go. Okay, so really that double-edged sword of the manifestation. It's a new moon, it's the crone phase of the moon cycle, going within and figuring our shit out. That's what I really hear. Figuring our stuff out, our emotions out, because we're not as aligned as we think we are. Knowing then that when we do, we unite to our higher self, we unite to our future self, we unite to the environment around us, we unite to what it is we're actually sending out. It's going back to that gratitude thing. False gratitude, the universe knows. Yeah, I'm grateful for this because at least I'm not this. That's not gratitude. It is, but there's a higher level of gratitude trying to come through that takes into account all aspects of life. We know, the soul knows, that real deep authenticity now that is required on an emotional level, because we have the 3 of Cups and the 9 of Cups. If we can really celebrate what it is we have been achieving, really celebrate everything that's coming to light and showing us how aligned we are emotionally and what we may need to sort out. If we can really open up to that, that will be the stream that we actually step into this week. And then we have 1 Pentacle card. So the card that isn't as in balance, ironically, is the 6 of Pentacles. What's not quite in balance is what we are physically receiving and what we are physically giving. That feels very important. You know, I know that physically I'm not in balance with what I'm receiving, but equally I know I'm not physically in balance with what I'm giving myself or others as a result. And being very aware of that. We are the bridge. We are the rainbow bridge in the Lovers card. Making that choice, looking at our heart space. What is it we are giving and where are we giving it from? What do we need to receive and where do we expect that to come from? From what level? From what energy? Okay, really, really being aware of that and making a choice to decide to give and receive from that energy just by merely standing in it. So by saying, actually, I'm not going to be part of this view of balance. I'm not going to be part of this view of what is given and what is taken. I'm going to address my own needs. I'm going to see what it is I can get for myself and what it is I currently need in order to give from that space as well. I hear breaking the tie, the chains, the bonds that we've all come under. This level of expectation isn't healthy. This level of expectation of us from the universe, us from ourselves, us from each other, when we're not willing to do it ourselves, yeah, it's not healthy. So we have one major arcana, which is the Lovers, and it's the underlying theme this year, guys. That's what I really feel. You want to know what's going to happen the next few weeks. Look at what's been happening for you this whole year, because it isn't to go through the 12-12 portal. It's trying. It really is trying to go through with the 12-12 portal. And it's no, that's enough now. You know, the 12-12, we are talking adding up to the 24, which is the Lovers. But also the 12 is the Empress and the Hanged Man. We've seen things from so many different angles now. What is it we are going to create from that? What is it we are going to start putting into place in the month of giving and sharing and receiving and the Christ-like consciousness, the celebration of the whole year, the return of the light? How are we going to choose to do that? How open are we going to be to a different light? How willing are we going to be to share a different light as we go into 2023? And what do we need to do? What choices do we need to do in regards to our mind, our emotions, and our intentions in order to achieve that? I was just about to say, is there anything else? And actually, no. No, there literally is, yeah. There is nothing else, because the card that's come out is Death and the Tower card. Okay, it is time for that change. The change that was mentioned in the very, very beginning. It is time to embrace the energy of death in situations that no longer work for us individually or collectively, and to allow the Tower moments that need to happen to actually happen for their full embodiment, rather than rebuilding on foundations that are unstable because we haven't allowed that to occur. Good luck. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you Monday. Take care.